Bingo. Now I was remembering what it was that Stephen A. Smith had said. This was the one that was the furthest on the reaches of my mind at the time. You won't have peace. No justice, no peace was originally comes from Reverend Al Sharpton when he was Fat Sharpton, and he always wore tracksuits, and he was involved in a bogus case against the New York PD by a young lady, Tawana Burley. It was really, so at the time, this is the time where Public Enemy had first come out with their first two albums. Spike Lee was a big deal. This was the 1988 music explosion of Guns N' Roses, NWA. Oh my gosh, there a few of you will be able to drop things in the comments about other albums. So it was a youth culture explosion of sorts that was defining Gen X, and it was just one of these many New York kind of things that we don't see a pattern in it because there wasn't really a way of remembering a lot of what had happened in the 60s and 70s with any details outside of somebody like 60 Minutes or something like that doing like some kind of montage or doing some kind of documentary or something like that. So, there was no internet at the time. So we didn't see how what we were seeing was something that was simply very normal in cities that were run by Democrats, such that was why so many people moved to California. People of my generation were born in California because our parents hated the race politics of the Democratic parties in the major East Coast cities. And nobody remembers this because there wasn't really good recording of it. That a lot of the redlining and ethnic neighborhoods of the East Coast and the Midwest are things created really by Democrats. And it was their way of sort of managing things. This very concept of there being sort of labor and race violent political clashes, this is a Democratic Party phenomena. This is not something that the Republican Party really has like some kind of attachment to as thinking is some inevitability of people. In fact, actually, what the Republicans tend to do in a way that ends up being kind of hilariously like cyclical and also kind of cringeworthy, like the young find it cringeworthy, is the revival tent. They bring back a version of the revival tent. And overall, this is a good thing. I mean, there's just no way around it. It always ends up being legit and good. While what you see from the left is the various groups clashing. So right now, how do you assuage the Islamist, Marxist-Leninist leaning Muslims? At some point, they're going to have to assuage that group. Once they assuage that group, another group starts their campaign of violence within the Democratic Party, and then you got to assuage that group. So now you're just trapped. This is what it's been for generations. And good luck with that.